I seen a tweet on Twitter like a few months ago. Well, it's been almost two now, and I just had to talk about it because there's like a common demeanor over here. But still, the tweet reads as follows. Give me a second. Let me quickly just make this bigger. What's the biggest sports scandal that went away quietly? So let's read the replies first before we go to the 2000 quote tweets. Um, yeah, Tim Donaghy. I mean, this is pretty obvious. Kings Lakers, if you remember that series, came out in 2007. That yeah, it was fixed. Basically, it was as clear as daylight. To be honest, I don't really know a lot about this, but he's explaining this pretty well. Steve Francis and Catino Mobley's off the court relationship. When Steve was getting traded to London for teammate, he refused to trade due to the sorry due to the Catino not due to Catino not being included. Houston later revoked the trade to include Catino. Later in Orlando, the relationship caused a rift within the Magic, causing Catino to be traded to Sacramento. Interesting. This guy knows a lot. Jimbo Fisher's wife, now ex-wife, and a number of links with the FSU athletes and with former Gator receiver Taylor Jacobs, who's from Tallahassee. I don't really know a lot about this as well. Um, pass interference once again. Oh, this was 3 years ago. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, let's actually go to the quote tweets because this is where I actually source this. Really, really, Twitter? Hold on. Let's start here. So, um, the Kobe incidents. Yeah, this is one of the big ones. Um, Nothing even comes close to Kobe Bryant raping a woman, throwing Shaq under the bus, buying his wife a car, getting a tattoo, changing his number, paying the woman off, and the NBA and Nike rebranding him as Family Man because they were narrating as a sales dump. Yeah, looking back at it, obviously now with social media being more present than ever, this would have been crazy. This would have been fucking crazy back then. Yeah, I'm not an F1 fan or consistent viewer, but what I've heard and read about that 2021 championship is incredible. Yeah, you know how fucking wild that is? Initially, right? I know like dynasties are good for sports. You know, Golden State's dynasty that's like TV numbers wise all time high basically. You know, they do really well ratings wise. But Hamilton got competitive to the point that he got so good to the point that it almost killed the sport. You know how wild that is? To the point where they basically had to fix the championship. You all remember the Abu Dhabi incident, right? Where Toto was basically, and another thing, people in F1 Twitter and people in Formula One, they say that Toto he literally has the FIA on speed call and speed dial, but he literally doesn't. Like that's basically the prime example of this. If you don't know the context, essentially, Abu Dhabi, they were going into the last race of the season, which was the Abu Dhabi race, and Hamilton and Verstappen were on the same amount of points. So whoever won that race won the championship. It would have been Hamilton's eighth, passing Michael Schumacher, or would have been Verstappen's first, making him first time world champion. The race was going fine, and then there was a safety car, you know, because of an incident. I think it was due to Latifi. I think was it Latifi, may have been. But anyway, there was a safety car in the last round of the race. So the last round of the season, and essentially Verstappen got a head start, and you had to reinstate that lap. You just had to, but they didn't. Verstappen managed to get past Hamilton, unfortunately, because after DRS, I think it's 3 rounds before. After the safety car, sorry, it's 3 rounds after the safety car where you are able to get DRS, and because it's the last race or the last round, you are not able to get DRS. So Hamilton basically wasn't able to get past Verstappen again. So Verstappen managed to win that championship. It's still like an asterisk for me personally. Yeah, looks like Verstappen is gonna go back to back though. So I don't really know how much of an impact that will have long term. But still, it's one of the biggest scandals ever. And if this happened in like the NBA or even any other sports, this would have been so much bigger than it actually turned out to be. Like because F1 Twitter isn't that big, it really didn't. It did make headlines, but it could have been so much bigger. PG and Doc Rivers' daughter. I think that's kind of obvious. People know about this now. Context: PG was dating Doc Rivers' daughter. cheated on Doc Rivers' daughter with a stripper, got that stripper pregnant, got another kid with the stripper, and is now married to her. So that's kind of a small one. Tim Duncan being not straight and every player within the NBA knowing but not making a big deal about it for years. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing, obviously. I just find it, yeah, I find it intriguing as well. Obviously, there's that, if you know that one Charlemagne the God clip where Danny Green went onto the show and Charlemagne asked if Tim Duncan was bisexual.
It up, but he did a good job. But yeah, I'm from New York, about an hour away, not too far, Long Island. So
okay.
Yeah, I grew up here.
I had to go to Long Island the other day. That traffic was awful.
So is Tim Duncan bisexual?
I didn't hear anything about it. I just recently heard about it. Somebody saying rumors, something. Rumors,
yeah, his wife. There rumors that his wife said that.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
That's how we started off.
Would it bother you if he was?
I mean, Timmy's Tim. To me, I'm not gonna look at him any differently. He's my teammate, regardless.
That's how we start the interview.
Preference. This is, basketball's basketball. Appreciate the good start. But I haven't heard anything about it, and I definitely haven't suspected anything. But he's going through some stuff, and that's what happens when you go through a divorce, and sometimes it gets ugly.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing a woman's gonna say when she wants to slander you. Either you're gay, you got a little penis, or
you have
broke.
herpes.
Yeah, I'll try to stay away from the drama, man.
Now, can you dribble a basketball? Because people say you can't dribble.
Oh, time out.
I know, right?
How you can't dribble when you're a basketball
No,
player?
because they say he can shoot threes, but he can't dribble and do a layup. But he can shoot the hell out of a three. That's what everybody
They
says.
said that your
I know.
brother's a lot better at actually driving.
Which one? I got 3 younger brothers. I mean, there's a couple of them that are decent.
I think his name is what's his name? Devontae.
Yeah, Devontae. Yeah, he's the young.
But yeah, that's a good thing actually, considering it was the early 2000s. Respect, like that's actually really good. Here we go. I've been able to fix it. So, MLB using different sets of baseballs the year before the collective bargaining agreement expired, just to get casually swept. Yeah. Imagine. I mean, in the NBA, even there's like arguments when it comes to the ball and stuff. But once again, if this was a bigger league, this would have been crazy. Don't know if it qualifies, but Carl Ripken's mom getting kidnapped. Unfortunately, I don't know who that is. I'd like to know. I'll probably Google it. I'm actually gonna Google it right now. I have no clue. Oh, once again, baseball, right? If this was like bigger, we'd know about this. But yeah, Kobe raping a 19-year-old girl and grooming his wife while she was a teenager in high school. There's really a lot of things when it comes to Kobe that like pop up. I know, rest in peace to mom and all that, but that's still kind of wild. I ain't gonna hold you. That's still kind of wild. Not sure if it's a scandal, but Qatar have killed over 7,000 workers in preparing for the World Cup, and bar a couple of articles here and there, everybody just moved past it. Yeah, I feel like people in general have somewhat just accepted the fact that the World Cup is happening. I know it's ironic, but people talking about the fact that we should boycott this stuff and thing. But we like. You've known this for like how many years? 12? When was the announcement? When did they win that vote? 2010? People. It's way over 7,000. I think it's in the 10 to 12,000s even. That World Cup is a scandal as it is, and they even moved it one day forward now, which is crazy. Because they're gonna be competing with the F1 season finale. So I don't know if people are actually going to watch that because it looks like Verstappen has that championship basically locked up. But still, Gylfi Sigurdsson disappearing from football with no update. There's a great video that Vizay made going into it. It's not Benjamin Mendy, but yeah, it's in that ballpark. But still, yeah, crazy that people just disappeared. Like nobody mentions it. Nobody talks about it. Like nobody. Basically, the crux of the replies and quotes is that a lot of sports staff have committed an endless amount of sexual assault and gotten away with it. Yeah, we can talk about football a lot more. We have Jerome Boateng, nobody talks about that. We have Lucas Hernandez, nobody talks about that. We have Kingsley Coman, nobody talks about that. David Villa allegedly SAing somebody when he was in the US, nobody talks about that. There's a lot more. Russia removed from sports while Israel remains. Yeah, the whole that's a box I don't even want to open. Yeah, I don't even want to get. Honestly, I don't want to talk about that. Like, it's like, it's literally when it's so close to you that you can't even like escape from it, that you have to do something. That's basically what it is. It's literally like, yeah, we can't hide from this, like, because Israel, it's so far away. It's not actually close to us. So it's, I don't even want to get into it. I'm just going to get angry if I talk about it. So moving on. Jason Richardson was smashing Steve Nash's wife to the point where she gave birth to Jason's baby, and his only punishment was getting traded from the Suns. Yeah, that's once again that love triangle on the Mavs. Um, there's a great secret base video to that. I may put a link in the description. But yeah, I'm seeing the next one. I'm seeing this already. Karl Malone telling Kobe's wife, "I'm hunting for little Mexican girls" at a Lakers game when she commented on his cowboy hat. Then Kobe leaving him, threatening voice note, and Malone telling Kobe they can lock themselves in a room and handle it doesn't get discussed nearly enough. Yeah, Karl Malone being a pedo, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like that's somewhat his, his, it's not his legacy to an extent, but whenever he's on these hateful tweets shows, that's what everybody gets at him for. Like, everybody gets at him for having sex with or getting a 13-year-old pregnant, and then basically forcing her to not talk about it and pay her off and stuff. And he's still to this day denying it, which is just wild. Um, yeah, it's crazy how having money can just cover up so many things. Like, it's bad. It's horrible, and it's sad. It's sad. I feel like that's just the way I can close on it. But yeah. Thierry Henry fooling an entire generation into supporting Arsenal. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's a bad thing, to be honest. I mean, for your mental state for the last like 7 years, it would have been bad. Um, but looking good now. I can't lie to you. I mean, I don't mind it. Like, obviously, when it comes to teams in England, Arsenal is like my number one. Yeah, it's been a weird few years, but I don't know if that's actually a bad thing. So what I got from this tweet is that Karl Malone is a pedo or rapist. Yeah, Derrick Rose is a rapist. That's another thing that people just, yeah, that went completely under the rug. Robert Sarver is a racist. Yep. Washington State forced their cheerleaders to give them sexual advances. Yep. FIFA is responsible for the death and torture and slave labor of many migrant workers. Yep. I mean, this is obvious. This is somewhat not obvious. This has gotten obvious over the past few months, obviously, with that investigation. I don't even know what the result of that investigation has turned out to be. They haven't talked about it in a minute. Yeah, I think this is pretty common um, in sports, in North America to be more precise. It's pretty common. And FIFA not caring about human rights, I mean, that's another ironic one. But still, Kobe Bryant's rape charge. People just decide that they like him, so it didn't matter. And to this day, yep. Um, yeah. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. Fortunately, I have a friend of mine that she doesn't check on me, but she checks on a lot of people when it comes to SA and RAPE. Um, but yeah, yeah. It's to even he's passed away and people still don't mention it. They somewhat mention it and trying to mix it with his sports, but with his ability when it comes to the sport. But still wild to me, still wild. And Ben effing Roethlisberger being a serial rapist and general piece of shit that can go retire to be a family man. I don't follow the NFL as much, but it looks crazy. Still looks crazy. Derrick Rose saying he didn't know what consent meant during his rape trial. Wow. As mentioned before, I haven't looked that deep into his trial, but I know that it's out there. The Saints helped the New Orleans RTODs cover up a child abuse ring. Once again, I don't follow football like that, but yeah, Kobe Bryant being a rapist. Yep, that's another one we've seen. Kobe admitting that he raped that woman. Yeah, Karl Malone is literally walking in the streets freely after getting a 13-year-old pregnant, and he celebrated in Utah. Yep,